You might have to be a little bit sharper, a little bit faster, a little bit better than some of the guys, because there's going to be a lot more people judging you. Hey, what's up? John Sonmez from simpleprogrammer.com. So I thought I'd answer a comment that I got from Elizabeth, because Elizabeth has been commenting on a lot of my videos and I appreciate that. So I thought I would answer her question. Plus it gives me a chance to talk about, do a video for women, right? I did videos, I've been doing a lot of quote guy videos. In fact, I did a video you can check out here on why I've been doing videos for guys. Mostly, I think someone put it really nice. They're like, because I'm a guy. And I do think there are differences between men and women. Obviously, there are. So anyway, but I'm interested to, or I'm happy to give my perspective here. And by the way, thanks for commenting, all of you that comment on the videos. I can't respond to every single comment. I get like, I think around 100 a day. So I do try to respond to a lot of them, but I do read them all. And I appreciate, and I do recognize those of you that comment on a lot of my videos, even if I haven't directly reached out to you. I do really appreciate it. I do recognize who you are, because I see your comments, and I do appreciate them. Even the ones where you guys challenge me, don't be afraid if I poke you back though, because I'm just trying to help, right? So there are some of you that I want to slap in the face, not because I'm angry, but for your own good, because you're just not waking up to reality. But you're watching the videos and you keep watching the videos, so there must be something there that's telling you that, hey, maybe there's something I need to figure out and face the truth on. So I'm hoping that you do. Again, you might be offended by that, but that's fine. You're going to be offended, but we're seeking the truth here. I don't like the facades and the fake and not addressing the core issues. So anyway, happy to get into discussions and debates and all that, as long as you're not trolling. But thank you, Elizabeth. I will answer your question here. So you said, love your videos. I am 28-year-old mom of two and thinking of becoming a computer programmer / web developer. I have been interested in web design since I was 11 years old. However, always felt I was not smart enough to do it as a career. Now I'm enrolled in community college and resurfaced my love for coding through a web design class. I'll be changing my current business degree program to information systems. My question is, have you worked with many female programmers during your career? Is there any advice you could give, as I feel I may be jumping into this field late, as I should have done this 10 years ago? Thanks, Elizabeth. So Elizabeth, first of all, I did do a video on older programmers and, kind of age, and I don't think that's an issue for you, but if you want to check out that video, check it out here. At 28, you're definitely not behind. I mean, a lot of kids getting out of college, it's funny I use the word kid, but they're like 23, 24, 25, so maybe you're a few years older than them. That's not a big deal. You probably have a lot more life experience, which is always valuable. So let's see where to start here. I have done a lot of videos for guys, so this is a video for women. There we go. You can check out my video on why I did a lot of videos for guys here. If you think I'm a sexist, you can check it out, and that's cool. I don't care, because I think there is a difference between men and women, and that's what I'm going to talk about a little bit here to answer your question. So first of all, let's lay some groundwork. So programming, you have to understand, software development is a field that is primarily dominated by guys, right? Perhaps a 10-to-1 ratio, maybe it's more than that, I don't know, but it's a lot. I've worked with a lot of women, to answer your question, but I've also worked with a lot of guys, and I've worked with mostly guys. And I'll tell you that, and the reason why I'm telling you this is because that is going to control the dynamics of that environment. So there are professions and there are fields that are dominated primarily by women. I can think of probably nursing, probably hairstyling, interior design, fashion, what else? Dental hygienists. There's probably a bunch of different ones that are primarily women that are in that environment, and their conversations, their culture, the things they talk about, the inappropriate things they talk about, those are all sort of a feminine type of environment, right? It's going to be different than a guy environment, and you have to understand that programming, because of the ratio of men to women, is going to be that. I just want to, that's not necessarily a bad thing, right? A lot of people say, oh, that's such a bad thing. it's no more a bad thing than it is that a knitting workshop is dominated primarily by elderly women, right? That's not a bad thing. Their conversations, their topics, it's not a bad thing. We don't need to, be angry about that. You just have to realize that when you get into that environment, that's what it's going to be. That if you join a knitting club, you're probably going to be talking about grandchildren and cats. That's just how it is, right? So the reason why I'm saying that is because if you look at the programming environment, you just have to be, again, I want you to be aware of this. You probably already are, but there's a lot of, quote, again, I'm going to use a lot of stereotypes here, so those of you that are easily offended, you might want to look away from the screen for a minute or plug your ears. But a lot of nerds, a lot of video games, anime, comic books, maybe not so much comic, it's more of the anime, Comic-Con type of thing, a lot of martial arts, wannabe martial arts, a lot of guys that were picked on as kids, maybe not as athletic, again, using a lot of stereotypes here, but a lot of that environment, and a lot of egos, a lot of people trying to prove themselves because they were picked on as kids, and so the egos are inflated and are trying to prove superiority. So you have a lot of that. That's just part of the context of the environment, right? So be ready to deal with that. That doesn't mean that you can't deal with it. I don't want to scare you off. I'm glad that you figured out that you're smart enough to do this, because you are. There's no reason to be scared of that. The environment is not necessarily nasty. It can be at times, of course, but it just is what it is. I think programming is great. I think web development, software development is a great field for anyone, for man, woman, whatever. But you just have to be aware of sort of what the culture generally is, so that you can expect it and you can adapt to some degree. So I think that's, the advice I would give you is that the most successful female programmers that I've worked with have been ones that haven't tried to go against the grain and tried to change that environment. They don't have to adapt. They don't have to become part of it. They don't have to be, quote, one of the guys. They can be a woman. They can dress like a woman. They can act like a female in that environment, but they're understanding what that environment is, right? It's the same thing. If I'm going to use the knitting club, because it's just, if I join, the knitting club and there's like 9 grandmas in there that are knitting, I'm not going to dress like a grandma and act like a grandma in order to fit in, because that will actually call apart my differences more and make me look ridiculous, right? Instead, I'm going to just be myself, and that diversity that is going to add value to that group. I think, I don't know, it's kind of a ridiculous example, but I think you get my point. It's like, don't try and adapt to the situation, but don't try and change it, and don't try to change yourself to fit into it. Just expect it and realize it, and don't call attention to the differences, right? Just be the best programmer that you can and do your job, and try not to get too involved into the politics, right? Now, there's going to be situations that have happened that I've if you watch my story, I've had to call in HR on sexual harassment type of situations. When I'm not saying ignore those situations, those have to be dealt with, but don't try to, don't look for reasons to be offended, because if you look for them, you're going to find them, especially in this environment. Trust me, there's plenty of reasons to be offended, especially being a woman, right? You're just going to have to deal with those things. It's just part of this situation. We can say that it shouldn't be that way, but it doesn't matter. It is what it is. So yeah, so that's really the advice I would give you, is just also I would say that most guys in the programming environment are glad that there's a woman on the team. Some of them are going to feel threatened. Some of them are going to try to disprove you, or to prove that you're not as good or not as smart, or you just got hired because you're good looking or female or whatever it is. For those people, you should mainly ignore them, but you may want to also make sure that you know your stuff, right? So that someone can't call you out. Make sure, you might have to be a little bit sharper, a little bit faster, a little bit better than some of the guys, because there's going to be a lot more people judging you. And that's, again, I'm giving you the real, I'm not going to sugarcoat things. I'm going to tell you what you're probably really going to face, so that you can deal with this. But I think it can be dealt with, and I don't think it is an issue. I don't think it's something that should stop you from from joining the field. I think there's a lot of stories that make things seem worse than they are, but I've worked in a lot of environments, a lot of corporate environments, a lot of small companies, and I've worked with a lot of female developers, and I haven't seen a lot of problems. I have seen some, and I've seen it caused by guys that were immature and stupid, and I've also seen it caused by women who were looking for problems and felt like they wanted to pick fights and wanted to find problems. But the most successful female developers that I've seen have been ones that have tried to just do the best job that they can and just work as much as possible with the team and be professional and not try to not be a woman or female in the team, didn't try to become one of the guys. So don't try and do that. Don't change yourself in that way. Instead, just do the best job you can. And that's my honest advice here. Some people will disagree. There's not a whole lot of magical secrets here, but that's it. I just thought I would share that with you. And I thank you for commenting. If you like the videos, subscribe to the channel. I'll talk to you next time. Take care.